Hello, friends. Welcome back to Heartscapes, where we're learning the system of Reiki to live lives that are rooted, spacious, connected, and to help us remember ourselves. My name is Michaela. Welcome back to the studio. Really glad to have you here. So, just for today, do not anger. This is the first of the 5 Reiki precepts that form the foundation of the system of Reiki. It's something that we circle back to over and over again on this channel, and certainly in any Reiki space that's worth its salt, is regularly reflecting on the 5 precepts of the system of Reiki. They give us a guide to how we can expect to feel, what we can observe in ourselves when we are regularly in the practice of the system of Reiki. In essence, they describe the outcome of practicing the system, and they give us some important cues on how we can respond to our life if we want to walk this path. They are notoriously simple and yet not easy. These 5 precepts that walk us through releasing attachment to anger, to fear, staying rooted in gratitude, being diligent in this, and above all, being compassionate for ourselves and for others, outline this beautiful, simple path to leading a happy, grounded, spacious, connected life, one that we might call an enlightened life. And yet it is not easy to walk every moment of our life unattached to anger and to fear, feeling grateful, feeling true to ourselves diligently, feeling compassionate. And so it's really an important thing that we continue circling back to, that we continue to notice in our life how these precepts show up, where we feel really challenged by the invitation that they offer us. Where are those moments when we transcend our attachment to anger and fear and actually step into a frightening or enraging situation and remain calm and grounded in that moment? It's a process of self-reflection that I invite all of my students and clients into, because truly it's an important aspect of actually living this practice in our life day to day. And so when I find someone that has articulated an aspect of one of these precepts in a new way that I haven't considered before, or just really beautifully, accessibly names something essential about one of them, I get really excited and I want to share it. And so that's what I'm doing here today in this Reiki Story Time. Because one of my teachers, Bronwen Logan, recently sent out a blog post about this first precept, just for today, I anger not, or I do not anger, that just so beautifully reframes this precept in a way that really deeply resonates with me and really touches on conversations that I've had, but describes it in a way that I have not specifically landed on before. So I thought about making a video where I just kind of rephrase a lot of the content here that Bronwen shares, kind of give my own riff on it. But sometimes it's really best to just share the words as they were originally written. And so I'm making this into a Reiki Story Time video, and I'm just going to read you this blog from Bronwen Logan. Now, if you prefer to receive content like this in written form and read it yourself, I will, of course, put a link to this blog, the original post, down below so that you can read it yourself, return to it anytime you like, and, of course, check out the rest of Bronwen's blogs. She's been working in the realm of teaching Reiki from its Japanese origins for a very, very long time and is one of my dearest teachers and resources for the work that I do. So I'm really happy to share her words with you. Okay, and so with all of that, let us step into this writing where Bronwen invites us, do not anger, be wrathful compassion. I've often noticed that anger is perceived as a motivational force in our culture, a fiery catalyst that spurs us into action. While this might sound empowering on the surface, working with the Reiki precepts and contemplating the precepts, do not anger, has made me question the true nature of this volatile emotion. Anger, in its essence, is a reactive state, spilling out of control, leaving a trail of destruction in its wake. From strained relationships to impaired well-being, the repercussions are damaging for you and everyone around you. In my years of practicing and teaching the system of Reiki, I've discovered that there are ways of working with anger rather than simply suppressing it. One of the most effective ways is by working with another of the Reiki precepts in an unusual way to transform it into something constructive. Be compassionate to yourself and others. This is the 5th Reiki precept. With wrathful compassion. So what exactly is wrathful compassion? Unlike anger, which is often directed outward in a destructive manner, wrathful compassion is rooted in awareness and a keen sense of responsibility. It's about being intensely present and passionately committed to positive change without the collateral damage that anger can cause. Experiencing compassion can feel like a warm, beautiful hug that envelops us much the way we might have been held as a child, nurtured, safe, and deeply loved. It is a gentle embrace that whispers, "You are cared for," soothing our emotional bruises and reassuring our hearts. In that sacred space, we find comfort and the freedom to be our authentic selves, cushioned by an emotional softness that asks nothing in return. Contrastingly, experiencing wrathful compassion is akin to being a loving parent who sets boundaries for their child. It's a compassionate force that says, "I love you enough to say no," to guide you and to insist on what's best for you, even if it is uncomfortable. This form of compassion is not soft, it is fierce. It is the hand that holds us back from running into the street, the voice that tells us hard truths for our own good, the energy that pushes us to grow even when growth is painful. While it may not feel like a hug, it is love in action, a tough love that serves us. This fierceness is vividly personified in Furomyo, the Japanese deity often depicted sitting amidst flames, sword in one hand and a lasso in the other, considered a wrathful form of the serene Dainichi Nyorai, representative of the Shinpiden Reiki 3 symbol and mantra. Furomyo embodies this essence of wrathful compassion. His sword is not a weapon of destruction, but one that decisively cuts away illusions, fears, and anything else that hinders our spiritual progress. His lasso pulls us away from our misguided paths and back towards our true selves. The flames that surround him are not meant to harm, but to purify, burning away the impurities that cloud our judgment. Furomyo's stark imagery serves as a powerful metaphor for the transformative force of wrathful compassion. A love so strong that it dares to confront, challenge, and refine us for our spiritual benefit. Wrathful compassion brings to light a nuanced approach to dealing with life's challenges. It's not just about the absence of anger. It's about channeling your emotional energy with intent and purpose. Take the energy of anger, alter your perspective. Allow yourself to be infused with love and passion. The effects will ripple outward. Imagine a world where our interactions are fueled by wrathful compassion rather than reactive anger. The changes would not only be deeply personal, but societal. It starts with each of us. By making the commitment to practice wrathful compassion, we're taking a step towards a more harmonious world. The wisdom embedded in the Reiki precept, "Do not anger," embraces the transformative force of wrathful compassion. In essence, wrathful compassion is the powerful undercurrent in the river of change, allowing us to flow with life's challenges rather than crash against them. Try it. So I just love the way that Bronwen reframes this precept and invites us into this concept of wrathful compassion. Of course, this is something that we use discernment about when it is appropriate to bring this energy forward. But I would say that certainly anytime we feel that surge of anger come forward, which is going to insist that we respond to whatever it is that is stimulating that anger, that we cultivate a practice of shifting towards this mindset of wrathful compassion. Now, this takes practice. Reactive anger is so deeply ingrained, particularly for those of us who automatically go to anger as our go-to reactive emotion. I tend to reactively go to sadness or to withdrawal. But there are times when anger absolutely comes forward for me, and it feels like there's no other option with what to express. There's been many times when I have been on the receiving end of reactive anger, and it's been really harmful to me. This is something that comes up often in conversations with clients and with students because it is such a powerful experience to be both on the sending and the receiving side of anger, right? Particularly when it is out of control. And so we can cultivate a practice of shifting to this concept of wrathful compassion, where we are not being sedate, we are not being submissive to a situation that calls for a response, right? We maybe see an injustice happening or something that needs to be righted is occurring in our life. This does not invite us to stand back and let wrong things happen. No, this invites us to cultivate compassion that is fiery and powerful and motivational so that we can set boundaries, we can take action, we can say no, we can move things out of the way, we can change circumstances that are harming us or others from that place of compassion for self and for everybody else, but with that fire, that wrathful energy that is so beautifully personified in the deity Furomyo. This is why, of all the entities and images and metaphors and symbols that exist within the system of Reiki and its vast Buddhist underpinnings, it is the image of Furomyo that I carry with me every day as a tattoo on my arm. Because there was a time in my life when I absolutely needed to cultivate this energy of wrathful compassion. It was exactly the medicine that was needed. And honestly, it's often exactly the medicine that is needed. And so I welcome you into this practice, into this concept of wrathful compassion. What does it mean to you? Have there been moments in your life when you have experienced what you might call wrathful compassion? Are there places in your life that you can imagine benefiting from bringing forward this energy of wrathful compassion? I'd love to hear about it. I'd love to hear your experiences with this, your ideas, your insight about this concept, about anger generally, and how it has impacted your life. I also really invite you to explore Bronwen's blog. She is such a beautiful writer and has so many deep insights about the system of Reiki. She's really a treasure for all of us who wish to walk this path. Those links will be down below. And as you dive into that material, and as you prepare yourself to be a being that can bring forward wrathful compassion, may you be deeply provisioned for that journey. Thanks so much for joining me today for a Reiki Story Time. I'll be back with you again in the next video. Thank you so much for joining me. I love you. Goodbye.